at 7:35. Let me see if he's on the phone yet. He's a very busy man, JP Ricciardi, even though he's supposedly retired. JP, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. We're on the air now. He was like, hold on, I got to get rid of this other call. You still get that general manager tone in your voice, despite being out of the game there. Still wheeling and dealing, are you? Yeah?
I don't know about that. I'm wheeling. I'm not dealing.
Well, for those who don't know, Worcester's own JP Ricciardi, the pride of St. Peter-Marian High School, and you did a little time at Worcester State. You got a degree there. You helped with their baseball program. But you are the best way to describe it is a man of baseball. You've played the game. You've done everything from playing to scouting to coaching to being a general manager. You were the general manager for the Toronto Blue Jays. You worked in the front office for, the Mets, the Giants. Were you a scout for the Yankees, or did you work in the front office?
I coached in the Yankee organization.
You coached,
but you pretty much covered it all.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you've done it all in baseball, and you've got a new podcast out called The Brushback with JP Ricciardi. And I listened to the first episode last night. You and Buster Olney talking baseball is a baseball geek's dream. Great first episode on that one.
Well, I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have some fun talking about maybe some things that people hear about a lot of things in baseball, but they don't really get to peel the onion back and get the nitty gritty on some of the things. So I think we'll be able to bring that angle to it. But we're looking forward to it.
I'm excited because it's not a bunch of sports writers sitting around speculating. It's someone who's done all the jobs, speaking from experience. And I think that's one of the good things about this podcast you started.
Well, we'll like I said, we're really excited about it, and hopefully we can bring some insight and have a few laughs with it, and have some fun with it, which is the game is supposed to be fun.
JP, unlike some number-crunching general managers and young executives today, you played the game, and is that a different way of looking at the game compared to some of the number crunchers today?
Well, I think anytime you play at any level, you have a different perspective. I think if you put a uniform on in some way, shape, and form, whether you coach, you manage, you have a different perspective. I think the guys who don't play, obviously they have a totally different perspective than obviously the other people. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But I think what you miss when you don't play is the nuances of the game, the conversations. I think when you're an analyst and you're analytically driven, everything is just numbers, and they don't understand sometimes that the game is played by humans, and until our game isn't played by humans, it's always going to be flaws. No one has mastered our game, and whoever's analytically driven, they're not dominating our game and winning world championship after world championship, and no one's drafting hitting on 100%. So I understand why, the numbers are important, and I value the numbers. But I really think we've walked by a lot of experience in our game. There's a lot of guys who could bring a lot to the table. And I think that they're being pushed aside because it's just the way ownership and the younger general managers are seeing the game. So obviously I'm old school with a open mind to the new stuff, but some of it just makes you scratch my head.
So it's interesting you say that, because weren't you working with Billy Beane in the A's in the mid-'90s when that kind of started?
Moneyball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole problem with Moneyball is, and listen, I could spend a lot of time talking to you guys about Moneyball because I was there for it all.
Yeah.
And the thing about Moneyball is we had no money. So we had to find players every possible way. And we weren't as analytically driven as the book or the movie tried to make things out to be. I was one of the guys who was out scouting all the time. So they allowed me to have my own opinion. I didn't have to walk to anybody's line. I could tell them what I thought about a guy. And Billy was absolutely great to work with because Billy was aggressive and Billy took chances and he listened to the right people, the people that he trusted. And so, the misconception with Moneyball was there was a bunch of geeks sitting around playing rotisserie baseball and coming up with players. Nothing could have been further from the truth. And I could tell you a bunch of guys that we got just based on scouting. We gave Matt Stairs a chance. He was a 6-year free agent, and I saw Matt play in AAA, and I knew he wasn't going to get a chance to play at the Red Sox. They had Mike Greenwell in left, and we pursued him really hard, signed him as a 6-year free agent. He ended up hitting 40 home runs for us. So that wasn't analytically driven. So the Moneyball, I think, took on a life of its own because the A's were doing real well without a lot of resources. But, what people forget is we never got out of the first round in the playoffs. In 88, 89, and 90, we went to 3 World Series, and we were one of the highest payroll teams in baseball. And once the ownership took over and money got scaled back, we had to find a new creative way to get players. And that's, what Billy did a great job of.
Oh, my gosh. Are you okay?
I'm at the airport. Some guy just dropped his glove, I think.
Oh no.
Jeez.
Another Boeing issue?
No, I hope not. So anyway, it's like when you watch a movie and people who actually are part of it and they say that wasn't true. So you kind of know the ins and outs of it. But there was a lot of things that were done that were based on scouting.
Yeah. Well, who could be aggressive like Billy Beane right now? I think they could give it a try. Is the front office of the Boston Red Sox? Just looking for your insight in there. It seems like they just don't. It seems like they don't care. There, I said it. It seems like they don't care, and they're fine with being like a medium market or small market size team, and they say they're going to work on their farm system, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that. To me, their starting rotation doesn't seem like it's solid at all.
Devers wasn't shy about saying it either.
No, so I agree with him. What do you think's going on over there, JP?
Well, I think what people don't understand, when you work in a front office, your payroll is dictated by ownership. So obviously the Red Sox ownership has one view of how they want to pursue this year. And I think they're banking on maybe 2025 where they've got some of their younger players closer to the big leagues, where they might be able to have some homegrown talent, being able to fill in some of the places where they're going to spend money. And I don't think they want to spend the money now because they see those young players on the horizon and kind of getting close to playing in the big leagues. The one problem with that is the Red Sox ticket is one of the highest in baseball.
Exactly.
And, you owe it to your fans at some point to, put your best product forward. But I think, John Henry's done an amazing job in Boston. If you look back, 4 world championships, took an organization, had them won in like 86 years. So, he's done an amazing job as an ownership with that group. But I think right now they're just taking a different viewpoint. I think the luxury tax hangs over a lot of the teams now. And, the Yankees they didn't go sign Montgomery because it would have put them over the luxury tax. I think the Red Sox don't want to be over the luxury tax. So the luxury tax is real. And it's going to come into play, and I think that's one thing that's hanging over the Red Sox heads right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how they progress from here forward. But they're a limited team right now. I think they've got some good young players coming, but on the major league side, I think it would be hard to sit there in that division and say that they've got a fighting chance with Toronto, Baltimore, Tampa, and the Yankees. So it's going to be interesting to see how the fans react to this type of approach.
Now, as far as the AL East goes, which is, despite the Sox not being what they used to, still probably the toughest in baseball. Who do you see coming out on top? I know it's super early. We haven't even started.
No. It's early, and I understand. But, if you have to pick early, middle, and late, which is kind of how the season goes, I think the Blue Jays are going to really surprise people because they got starters 1 through 5. And they're one of the only teams in that division that has a 1 through 5 starting rotation. The Yankees have a good 3, but Garrett Cole's going to be a major, major question. And if he gets Tommy John surgery, that's a big blow to the Yankees. Tampa Bay's always got, some talent. I just don't know if they've got enough on the mound this year. They lost a lot. I like Toronto's lineup. The Orioles are obviously very, very good, but they're a little thin on the mound. They've had some injuries. And I think that's going to be a big question mark. And they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. People are going to be loaded for bear, knowing that they're going to be a good club. So I think it's somewhat open. I think most of it's going to come down to who's healthy. And I think the healthy team, or the team that can add something in the middle, is going to be able to push themselves across. But starting from day one, I see Toronto as having the deepest rotation. I know they're a little nicked up, but they've got a little bit more depth than maybe some of the other clubs. But it's going to be, listen, it's been the strongest division in baseball for 20-something years. That's not going away.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And just a full disclosure, if you didn't hear earlier, JP was the general manager for the Toronto Blue Jays for 8 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 8 years. Yep.
Yeah. And before I let you go, because you're still a very busy guy, I just have one really selfish question about the Blue Jays I want to ask.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to meet Geddy Lee from Rush? He was at a lot of games.
I never. Yeah, he's at a ton of games. I'm not a fan of that band, so I didn't go out of my...
This call is ended right now. We're done.
Yeah, no offense. Not my genre.
Okay.
But he was always at a ton of games, and I never really got a chance to meet him, but I did meet a lot of other people in Toronto, and I know he's a big Blue Jay fan, so I'm sure they appreciate his support. But, no, never met Geddy Lee.
Well, since you're not a fan of the band, this is the last time we speak, JP Ricciardi.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I met Springsteen a few times. I'll take that one.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty good, too, though. That's pretty awesome.
And thanks for all your efforts in trying to do what a lot of people have failed at for my New York Mets.
Yeah, no, the Mets are going to be okay. I mean, they got good leadership now, and obviously they've got heavy ownership.
A lot of money.
But, yeah, they got a ton of money. But that doesn't solve everything. You got to spend it wisely.
Yeah, we learned that.
Right. Well,
Well,
JP Ricciardi, Worcester Zone, has a new podcast. It's called The Brushback with JP Ricciardi. I highly recommend the very first episode out. He's talking to Buster Olney, who is another man of baseball. And listening to you guys go back and forth for almost an hour about your insights is just a baseball nerd's dream. It is really it was great.
I appreciate it. I wish we had more time because there was so much we could have covered. But I appreciate the plug. I appreciate you having me on, and all the best.
All right. That's thank you very much, JP. Appreciate it. Good luck, man. That's JP Ricciardi from Worcester, from